Benji and the Secret Sandcastle. Benji was a friendly 9-year-old boy who lived in the colorful seaside town of Sunny Cove, and every morning during summer vacation he hurried to the wide golden beach with his striped bucket, his small red shovel, and his loyal dachshund Noodle trotting beside him, because he loved building tall sandcastles that made passing tourists smile. One bright Tuesday, after finishing his cereal and promising his father he would be careful near the water, Benji decided he wanted to build the biggest, most magical sandcastle the beach had ever seen, one with twisting towers, hidden tunnels, and maybe even a secret room inside. So he filled his bucket with damp sand near the shoreline, packed it tightly, and tipped it over, repeating the move again and again until a low wall began to form. As he worked, a shy seagull with a silver feather in its tail landed nearby and watched quietly, and when Benji offered a breadcrumb, the bird spoke in a soft, clear voice that only kind listeners could hear, saying its name was Breeze and that it had flown over many beaches but never seen a castle reach the sky. Surprised yet delighted, Benji asked if Breeze knew special tricks for strong towers, and the seagull nodded, suggesting that Benji mix a little bit of seaweed into the sand to help it stick together. Following the advice, Benji soon built taller, smoother towers, and children walking by stopped to ask if they could help, so Benji welcomed them, handing out spare shovels and showing how to carve windows with popsicle sticks. Together the team shaped arches, bridges, and steps, while Noodle barked happily and drew funny patterns in the sand with his tiny paws. By noon the castle grew so wide that it almost touched the tide line, and Breeze circled above like a proud guardian, pointing with its wing to seashells that would make sparkling decorations. When Benji placed a spiral shell on the highest tower, he heard a faint humming inside it, like a lullaby of the waves, and Breeze whispered that the shell came from the legendary Secret Sandcastle that appears only once every 100 years under the full moon, hidden beneath the beach until brave hearts rebuild it. Amazed, Benji looked around and realized their own castle was starting to resemble the one from the old bedtime story his grandmother told, a castle said to hold a room where wishes could be whispered and carried by shells to the sea. Excited, the children decided to search for a place within their castle where the wish room could be, so they dug a small chamber in the center, smoothing the walls until they shone in the afternoon light. As Benji placed the spiral shell on a tiny pedestal inside, a warm breeze blew through the doorway, and all the castle towers shimmered as though kissed by starlight. Even though the sun was still high, suddenly the tide crept closer, and worried voices rose. If the waves reached the walls, all their hard work might wash away. Remembering his father's lesson that teamwork is stronger than any tide, Benji led everyone to gather driftwood they had spotted earlier, stacking the pieces in front of the castle like a short fence, then filling gaps with seaweed and packed sand to make a barrier. Breeze flapped its wings to call distant gulls, who helped drop small pebbles for extra weight, and Noodle ran back and forth barking encouragement. The first wave touched the barrier, splashed, and slid away without harm, and cheers filled the air. By late afternoon the water began to retreat with the low tide, leaving the castle safe for now, its gateways glittering with tiny pools that caught sunlight like liquid mirrors. Benji invited each helper into the wish room, where they whispered hopes. One child wished for a lost toy to be found, another for her grandmother's quick recovery, and Benji wished that the friendship they formed that day would never fade. When every wish was spoken, the spiral shell glowed softly, and Breeze said the sea had accepted the messages. Evening shadows stretched across the sand, and parents called their children home for dinner, so the helpers waved goodbye, promising to return at sunrise. Benji thanked Breeze, who gifted him the silver tail feather for courage, and Noodle licked Benji's cheek as if to say the day was perfect. At dusk Benji and Noodle walked home, tired but happy, and when he turned for one last look, the castle's towers seemed to sparkle under the pink sky, almost alive. That night, a gentle full moon rose, and while Benji slept, dreaming of new adventures, a quiet tide reached the castle, touched its walls respectfully, and left it standing, as though honoring the wishes whispered inside. The next morning the town awoke to find the sandcastle still tall, with seashell paths shining brighter than before, and children rushed back to play, discovering their toy washed safely ashore and the girl's grandmother smiling on a nearby bench. Everyone agreed that something magical lived in teamwork, kindness, and believing that even an ordinary bucket of sand can build a dream when shared, and Benji kept the silver feather on his windowsill as a reminder that brave hearts and helping hands can turn simple sand into a secret castle where wishes sing with the sea.